Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kay and I am Stitchy Pfeiffer here on YouTube and over on Instagram. Very warm welcome to you if this is your first time visiting my channel. I do hope that you find something that you like, and if you do, you click on the like and subscribe buttons and select all from the notification bell so that you are advised whenever I upload new content. General rule is I upload a weekly update video on a Saturday, sometimes a Sunday, and there's usually about 2, sometimes 3 Stitch With Me videos per week. Sometimes these are chatty ones, sometimes they're ASMR, depends if I'm in the mood for talking or not. Before I get into stitching, let's just have a quick weather update from Central Fife, West Fife, Central Scotland. And looking at the window, it's a bit dull. I've just had a notification pop up on my phone just before I started filming, saying to expect rain within the next 15 minutes. So yeah, it's going to rain. It's been nice on and off all week. You know, a couple of days there that it was actually beautiful. It was quite warm in the sun, but it was cold first thing in the morning. Scotland's one of these countries where you can get frostbitten in the first thing in the morning, but well, you know, middle of the afternoon you're sunburnt. We're one of those countries. The weather changes quite a lot. I think it's the same for all sort of temperate zone countries that are in temperate zones, isn't it? Especially at this time of year. So yeah, other than weather, there's nothing else to really talk about before I go into my stitching update. This week, I'm just going to show you, I'll talk about the stitching for the week. Next week, because I'll have the starts for the whole of September, I'll go over the September starts next week. Hold on. My screen's decided it's going to freeze. I've got my notes on my laptop. I've got you propped up against the laptop. That's plans. I'm going to go further back because, like I said, I have filmed this. This is about the 3rd or 4th attempt. Right, there we go. Updates. There we go. Last week I worked on projects for 7 days. I stitched on I stitched on projects. Oh, for goodness sake. My mouth's ahead of my brain. So sorry about this. Let's find. Right. Last week I stitched on all 7 days and worked on 6 projects and achieved 7,017 stitches. That's 7017 for the week. I'm really enjoying the fact that I'm stitching more each week. I don't know if it's just because of the way the patterns are in the rotation or what, but I'm stitching more each week. I had 0 new starts last week. I had 0 finishes or fully finished projects, and so therefore 6 whips. All of my projects are either on 18 count Aida or 25 count Evenweave, and all are stitched with CXC floss 1/1 full cross unless I specify otherwise. The first project I'm going to show you. Hold on, because bring these back up here. Right, the first project I'm going to show you is the one that I picked up straight after filming last week, and it's this one. Is this cracker? This is the Witching Hour Max Colour by Manning Designs. Artwork is by Lisa Parker. Last week I insisted on calling her Emma Parker. My apologies, Lisa. But this is your artwork, and I am working on this one. It's a beautiful chart. This is, you know, I've always liked Lisa's artwork, and I had a mug that had that artwork on it, this artwork on it. She got lost in a move, unfortunately. There was this one, and there was a Brush with Magic. was the other one, and they got lost in a move. But this is my progress so far on this project. Last week I stitched on this for 2 days. Let me just get that pop up down out the road because it's going on. If I can find my cursor, I'll be even happier. Oh, there we go. Pop up. Come on. Oh, come on. Seriously? Right, anyway. I stitched on this one 2 days last week and 1001 stitches. I taken me to a total of 104,948 stitches out of 229,600 or 45.71%. So I'm cracking on there, getting towards the 50% mark, which I think will be when I get to about there, when I get this pass finished. Maybe start with the next one. But last week I worked on, as I said, 1,004 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so from there down. Because of the way I park, I don't park under complete stitches. For me to park a thread, it has to be under a part thread or an empty stitch, an empty space. So because of that, I have got part of the flame, the white part of the flame stitched because it was coming in under complete stitches. So I'll be finishing off, the next time it comes out I'll be completing that flame and starting on the top half of the candle before working down on to the cat's face. I still got one book title to just put in here. I still got the Witching Hour to do there. That is Herbs and Potions there. And there's that one, and then there's a couple of books underneath the cat's head as well. Before I get back into the background, which is all blacks and grey, blacks and browns and dark greys. So that is the Witching Hour max colour. Don't have much left to do on that pass now. I might finish it that pass this year. Depends really on how I get on with it going forward. It's got about another 3 sessions, so about another 3,000 stitches. Probably not. Next one I'm going to show you is the project that's a commemoration piece for my late father. No, I don't want to view the chart. What I want to do is view mock-up. Thank you. And it is this one. This is the Flying Scotsman. It's chart is by Artecy. Artwork is by Kevin Walsh. And I worked on this for 2 days last week. This is a commemoration piece for my late father. I want to complete it by late November 2029 to celebrate what would have been his 100th birthday. And that is my progress so far on that. I worked on it for 2 days last week. Didn't quite manage my 1,000 stitches, but I got 924 stitches. And what I did was I worked down here, and then I started across here. And what I've done is I've started doing the diagonal blocks, parking in the block below. It's just easier because of all the confetti in that section, with it being the gravel. It's the gravel between the railway tracks and the top piece and those shrubs and stuff. Those took me to a total of 29,960 stitches out of 60,000 stitches. 49.93%, so sorry for this, steaming on to 50%. There's the flosses. This is getting stitched 2/1 full cross on 18 count. Don't like stitching 2/1 18 count as a rule, but I want to go into that a little bit more later. Pop that back in there. My apologies if you are listening on headphones for the zips. As I said, I have filmed this 3 times already, and I I didn't think to, before I started filming this again, to go around and open up the bags before I started filming. Hello, where did you come from? You come to have a look at the projects as well, have you? Have you? Oh, right, you want to check, you want to watch your nose? Yeah, you're a good boy. Are you coming to say hello to everybody? This is Charlie. Charlie's the older of my two cats. I don't know where Oscar's hiding. He's not in the bedroom because the bedroom door is shut. Is he hiding in the kitchen? Is he? Alright. Do you want my knee? Well, can you wait until I finish all my projects and you can sit on my knee at the end? Yeah? Okay. This was the next project that I worked on. This is Super Size, the Kitschy Shelf Matte Colour. Manning Designs. Artwork is by Aimee Stewart. And I worked on this also for 2 days. Oh, you going away? Okay. You get up in a minute. Give me, in fact, 5 minutes. Can you count to 65 times, Charlie, can you? Started working over on the left hand side here, and I'm back in the border here, and I'm changing this into stepped blocks, just and parking the block below. It just seems so much easier doing this project on that, especially at this part here. The plan is to eventually have, I'm actually done, you know. There we go. I don't even know if that's in the. I'm trying to look through the fabric. There we go. There's my full progress at the moment. The plan is to eventually have it stepped. Do you want to stop doing that? Have you got your claw stuck? Well, that serves you right. The plan is to eventually have the step diagonal right from here, right down to there, so that it's, you know, and then because this is so big, and every time I take my projects out of the frame and put them in the project bags between sessions, unless it's like from one day to the next that it stays on the frame, and because of that, it means that I can just move the frame to where I want to stitch. So if I am stitching on diagonal blocks, and it's sort of like, you know, I can sort of come down that way, come down along the diagonal with the frame, because I'm having to move it every time it comes out. Because I don't have a scroll frame big enough. It needs to be, you know, that's what, is it 40 inches wide or something, 40 or 45 inches wide or something, that is, fabric. It's heavy as well. So yeah, as I say, I worked on that for 2 days last week, and I got 1,029 stitches, and I have completed 67,521 stitches out of 736,263, or 9.17%. My aim for the year is to hopefully hit the 10% mark. My rather optimistic goal at the beginning of the year was 25%. Which I think if I hadn't started all the new projects that I started, I keep it to New Year, but I think with 11. And I've started, well, by the time I get to the end of the year, it'll be 25 whips in total. If I hadn't started all those, I might have had a chance of doing it, but yeah, 10% isn't anything to be sniffed at for 2 years' work on a big super-sized matte colour from Manning Designs. Or an Aimee Stewart shelf for that, you know, coming into that. Oh gosh, sorry, I have got, this fabric is a pain in the behind. I think I might be, no, I am definitely. This is Celtic Dragon is the next one that I worked on. It came out for a stitch with me, and which I did was an ASMR one. Kitschy Shelf was also out for a stitch with me this week as well. But Celtic Dragon was an ASMR one, and I didn't notice until after I had done the stitch with me and I had finished stitching for the day and I was putting it away. I was looking at it and I thought, that doesn't look right. I'll show you the mock-up for this one. And the reason that the thing that attracted me to this was not only the Celtic not working it was the symmetry of it, right? I liked the fact that it was a circle, a dragon with a almost a circle, making it look like a circle, you know, it's a circle within a square, basically. And I liked that, and it's what attracted me to it. I was looking at it last night and I thought, that doesn't look right. Because what I've done is, there should be 8. Should be 8 rope, repetitions of the rope work along the top. I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got an extra one. And I can't figure out where my extra ones come in about. So this side is further over. It should be further that way. I think it's about 12 stitches too far over or something. And trying to figure it out. I was sitting there last night. I was looking at it. I was like, well, not last night, the night before. And I was looking at it and I was like, and the more I looked at it, the more frustrated I got. So I'm actually now thinking this is going to be UFO'd, and I'm going to restart it on 18 count with 2/1 full cross on using 310. The reason I'm doing that, and I'll show you my next project, which is 2/1 on 18 count, and it's not a full coverage and it's working really well, which is part of the reason for it. Plus I think that the coverage, because it's all black, it could do with being a bit thicker. But in saying that, I'm going to use 310. I've been toying with the idea of getting sulky and doing it with sulky. I don't know. It will not be DMC 310 anyway, that's for sure, because it's even worse coverage than CXC 310. I don't know what it is about black threads, but they're notorious for not having good coverage. So that was 809 stitches, which went down the pan really because the whole lot's getting UFO'd, and I'm going to restart it. The next one, this is the second last project I'm going to show you. This is a Scotland Quaker Tile Flag from Vivsters on Artecy, and this is the mock-up. So what it's going to look like when it's finished. This is getting stitched 2/1 full cross on 18 count antique white. Pardon me. That is my progress so far. I stitched on that for 1 day, and I stitched a total of 1002 stitches, and I completed, hold on, I had this all folded nicely to show you. I stitched my apologies for the hanging thread. I do park my threads. I completed this block here and this one here and the framework around it. Well, that part is done. It was just that part. We'll see sides there. So yeah, that's those. This is the threads. I like the way it's stitching up 2/1. As I keep saying, I'm not a fan of 2/1 full cross on 18 count, but for full coverage, For non-full coverage, I will stitch 2/1 full cross on 18 count, not a problem. I think it's because when it's full coverage, it gets too tight. But that is the colours of the floss that I'm working on. Using 02 instead of white. I can't remember the colour it's supposed to be. Hold on, I'll tell you now if I can view PDF. To the end, end. And it's supposed to be 762, and it's sort of like pearl grey, very light. Holly is Cross Stitching Addict on Flosstube and Instagram. She's doing the Union Jack version, and she was saying that the 762 was really pale, wasn't showing up very well, so she switched to 02, and I hadn't actually ordered my flosses at that point. I'm in and on about whether I was going to start it, and then I decided I was going to start it, and I started it on St Andrew's Day last year, 30th of November last year. And I decided that I was going to do her swap, which was 02 for 762. So that's that there. And actually, as I say, I'm stitching it 2/1 full cross, and I'm actually quite impressed with it. I don't, as a general rule, when it comes to 18 count, I stitch with one strand. But because it wasn't, there is a lot of stitching underneath. There's a lot of, I mean, that's 1,000 stitches for 2 blocks. There's a lot of stitches in them. So and it does fill up, but I think because of one, it's the same colour. It's not like there's threads going across the back like there is with your full coverage projects and complete areas and stuff. There's none of that with that, so it seems to be fitting better. So I think if I'm doing 18 count for non-full coverage projects, it's going to be 2 strands over 1 for non-full coverage, and then full coverage will be the single strand. Which takes me on to my last project, which is on 18 count 1/1 full cross using CXC, and this is the HAED style. That's my progress so far. I completed last week. I completed the second row of pages, and I started on the bottom row pages. So I'm down here, and I'm switching back to stepped block. It just seems to work easier for me. Again, parking the block below. I've still got a bit to unpick from when I first started, because I started it in 2/1 full cross, and I didn't. It's like a carpet. It's so thick. I've got to unpick that before I get to that end. Oh, Quaker Flag. I forgot to tell you that 1,002 stitches took me to 14,086 out of 48,282, or 29.17%, so I'm heading towards a third done on that. The HAED style, I stitched on that every night, apart from Saturday last week, and I stitched 2,232 stitches, which takes me to 64,414 stitches out of 85,540, or 75.3% of the full project. Yes, you heard me correct, the full project. The reason I'm saying that is the last instalment dropped last night, and for the first time ever doing this project, I can show you the mock-up of the full project on Pattern Keeper. There we go. I am so happy to still be working on this and not to have given up. It's been close call, and yeah, but I've done it. I've managed to keep going to the last instalment's dropped, so that is it now. I have got just under 11,000 stitches still to go in that, and that's going to take me into plans now. So I said, stay with the HAED saw for one moment longer. As I said, I've got just under 11,000 stitches to go on this. According to Stitch Pal, if I want to complete this in time for the end of the sale on the 30th of December, I want to have to complete around about 230 something stitches. Because I want to make sure that I'm going to be completing it in time, I've set myself the target of completing the full project by Christmas Day, which gives me a target of 237 stitches per day to complete it in time for that. Bearing in mind that I'm stitching on this in the evenings from 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock onwards, and I'm averaging around about 300 stitches a day on that, so I think I'm going to manage it. I am going to work on it today. I'm actually going to put it back on the frame. The only reason it's off the frame at the moment is because when I put it on the nudge, when I moved it across that, teeth, words, mouth, brain, right. When I moved the frame at the middle of the week, when I completed the middle row pages, I put it in the wrong place, and when I was doing that last block, that lower left block, when I was doing this block here, I kept hitting, oh goodness sake, I'm tangled. When I was doing this block here, I kept, get the right bit, yeah, this one here, when I was working down here, I kept hitting the nudge with the needle, so I needed to move it, so that's why it's out the frame, otherwise you would have seen it in the frame. So that's going to go back in, hopefully in a place where, a position where I can actually stitch on it, in that corner, and I'll get it all back in with my magnetic cable tie, holding it all back on. So the plan is with that, because as I say, I've got just under 11,000 stitches still to go on that. Plan is to use the series of challenges. Challenge from Aimee at Crossing Crafts. I'm doing the Harry Potter series of challenges, and I'm basically working my way through every chapter of each book. I've completed chapter 1. I completed that at the beginning of the month using 2 wheels to get myself up to around about 4,000. I think I'm about 6,000 into that now, which was a 1st of September start. So I've done really well with that. So I'm working on chapter 2. I've got about 1,000, just under 1,000 still to do on chapter 2. This is the challenge. This is, you download this PDF from the series of challenges group, with whichever one you pick. So that is that there. As you can see, I've got chapter 1 crossed off because I've done it. And I'm not on chapter 2. So I've done, let's see, I'm about halfway through page 11, shall we say. So that is that. Plan is, once I've completed the HAED saw, because I'm going to keep working through this on this series of challenges in the evenings. Once I've completed the HAED saw, I'm going to look at the rest of my charts, the rest of my projects, and whichever one is closest to finish is going to get slotted in to that in place of that, so that that's going to be my focus to finish, is going to be the series of challenges. I'm going to work my way through them. I'm going to work my way through all the Harry Potter books, and once I've done that, I'm going to pick one of the other book series and do exactly the same thing again, and just work through them, and just switch in. Whenever I finish a project, I'll switch a new project, I'll start a new project in its place. That's the plan. Whether it works like that, I don't know, because I have got new starts planned. As I said, 1st of October I've got McGonagall's Library. The next one is on the 30th of November, and that is Celtic Unicorn, which is a Heaven and Earth Designs chart by artwork by Malcolm Watson. Then this is penciled in. It probably won't happen, so it'll probably get put off until July next year, and that is the Teddy Bear Tree Super Size Max Colour by Heaven and Earth Designs, Dona Gelsinger. And then my Monarch of the Glen Max Colours is going to be my Hogmanay New Start. If I get those three, if I get like the McGonagall's Library is number 22. 23 will be the Celtic Unicorn. 24 will be the Monarch of the Glen. If I get to 25, if I have Teddy Bear Tree, it's going to be 24, 25 for Monarch of the Glen. If I get to 25, if I wanted to do Whitbo, because the plan was originally to do Whitbo and have have 25 projects and to do Whitbo, and to do whichever, that was going to be my focus for the month, whichever ones were called. But because, hey, Charlie, stop that, come here. Come on. Come on. Did you just let off? You're stinky. What, you've never guessed, it smells nice. I don't know if you can hear that. We've got a bit. I live under the flight path of about 200 geese that fly from one lake to the salt plants on the other side of the Forth. What was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. Can you remember what I was saying? I know I have to give you kisses and cuddles. I'll put that. I'll close that so it doesn't get knocked. No, yeah, okay. I forgot what I was saying. I hate this. Oh. Yeah, the plan was 25 projects, let go. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to just keep it at 25 projects and switch out new ones for... no, I'm not. Shushki. Because there's at least another 5 projects to come next year. Maybe 6. But I'm not going to be doing them every month like I've been, because it's getting to be such a bind to do it, to make sure that I've got the fabric and the floss in for the 1st of October, 1st of the month. That's why I'm not starting one 1st of October, 1st of November, the end of November, and I'm not going to start one first at the start of December, because it's just such a bind. Do you want to stop doing that? You really hurt when you dig your claws in. So yeah, that's looking forward to that. So next year it's new starts, but it'll be every couple of months maybe. I have got the seasonal montages by Janet Steamer. I picked them up from Papery Crafts before they were retired at the end of last month, and they are. Are you watching the birds? You see the birds, do you? So I'm looking at slotting them in. Whether or not get them all in at the same training. Whether I get them all in at the same time, in next year, or maybe 2 next year and 2 the following year or whatever, I don't know. Plan is, as I say, every couple of months, 2 to 3 months, I'll be hopefully having a new start. because I can't see me going a full year without a new start, and obviously to fill in slots for existing projects as they get finished. The rotation is going to remain at 2 days, apart from my really big, huge ones like the kitchen shelf. McGonagall's library is going to be a big one. The Dogwood Cottage is a big one. I think Look to Sky is quite big as well. For the bigger ones, they're going to have a 3-day rotation. So instead of doing them for 2 days, I'll be doing them for 3 days or 1,500 stitches. Just so that I can see more progress on them, because the 1,000 stitches isn't giving me as much progress on them as I'd like. I'm going to try that for the first half of the year and see how I go on. If I find that it's not working, then I'm going to have to change it and play about with it again. And as I said, the series of challenges, once I've completed the HAED SAL, I'll look at whichever one of my projects is closest to finish, and that will go into its place, and that will be my focus for a finish. Will be the series of challenges. So that's that. Looking at next week's projects, I've got apart from the HAED SAL and McGonagall's library, I'm also going to be working on Peacock and Roses Sampler by 2x2 cross stitch art on Artecy, and Hummingbirds in Spring. It's a quick stitch. It was the second goal chart from the HAED SAL that we got when 2,000 people signed up for the SAL. So that's going in. That's a Dona Gelsinger piece. I might get onto Lilies of the Valley, Carolyn Manning as well. It depends on how long it takes me to get the initial 3,000 stitches done on McGonagall's library. I have looked at the top left corner of the pattern, because that's where I start my projects, and there's only about maybe 3 or 4 colours in the first block of 100 stitches, so it shouldn't take me, hopefully, too long to get the 3,000 in. I might get a live stream done next week. See how my anxiety is. There's definitely going to be a stitch with me on Wednesday next week, because I will do the new start. I'll be a start with me video as opposed to a stitch with me video. So there might actually be 3 stitch with me videos, including that next week. But we'll see. We'll see how I get on and how I feel, and which part I'm filming. Anything else that I've got to think about for plans? I'm not planning to do a live, as I say. It might happen, it might not. Haul. I have got haul to show you, which I've kind of already packed away because, yep. This is the fabric for McGonagall's library. That's the top of it. And it is huge, and it is a square, I think. It's 25 count, easy count. And it's been serged. I get Abby to serge it for me, so lesson learned, don't, because the breaks, it does break quite easily. So you get her to serge it. It cost me an extra, it's $2.50 to get to serge it. It's not worth my while getting a sewing machine just to serge the fabric that I get in, because I don't, I tend to stick with Abby for my fabric, so it's easier just to say to her, go and just serge that for me. And this is the flosses that go with it. This is the colours that are in there. I mean, it looks quite a dark, I'll get it back up on the screen, hold on. It is quite a dark looking piece because of the colours that is in it. but there is some lightness, some light colours coming in the window and that. So I always thought it was quite a dark brown, or sort of browns and things. But looking at the colours, I mean, there's 29 skeins of black in there. Greys and beiges and oranges and yellows and blues, and I think there's some greens on this side. There's greens, and I like that colour, I like that rusty colour, 922, I do like that colour. And what I'll do is I'll pop them, oh, what's that, blue? What one's that? 796, oh, that's a nice colour of blue. Look at that. Not a nice shade of blue. Some bright, oh, that's, right. I know that they said that DMC had stopped doing the Winnie the Pooh colour, right? I can't remember the number of it. But you not think that would be, that you would get away with that colour, a yellow, for Winnie the Pooh? Eh? 444. Do you not think you would get away with doing that for Winnie the Pooh? Anyway, I'm going off subject. I'm going off on a tangent again, aren't I? Those of you that have watched me since the beginning know that I do that quite a lot. So that's my fabric and my floss. Ready for starting that. What have I been watching while I've been stitching? Not a lot really. Not a lot that's new. Still my usual 2 weeks behind. 3 weeks behind almost, in some cases. Other than my usual ones that I usually watch, not really any new ones. I have got a new one that I have added to my watch later list, which is for a Stitch With Me, which once I've watched it, I have, you know, if I like it, then it depends on three things. One is the project, if it's a Stitch With Me and they're talking, can I listen to their voice without feeling like someone's drawing nails down a blackboard? If they're doing ASMR, is it loud enough to actually hear the ASMR? Or is there too much background noise detracting from it, sort of thing? And the third thing is, if they're doing a Stitch With Me, is the project legitimate? I would support someone who uses copies, who's infringing copyright. I won't support them on the channel. There was a couple of Chinese stitchers that I dropped because they were using copies of HAED designs, and I even mentioned in comments, this is a copy design, this is not a legitimate design, and got nothing back, got head crickets. So I don't even think they took it on board. So I dropped them, I stopped supporting them, I unsubscribed from them, and I think that the designers work hard to create these projects for us, to create these designs for us to stitch. For someone to come along and to steal that design and to try to make money off of someone else's work, it's just not, it's not, you know, it's not good, it's not right. And I mean, for the price that they charge for the patterns, for like the Heaven and Earth Designs patterns, they're around about £15 sterling. And the kits that like the Tapestry Market do are knockoffs of them. When I first started stitching, the Witching Hour was my first purchase from Heaven and Earth Designs, because I liked it, I liked the design, but I had seen it on Tapestry Market and it was like one like half the price, and that was including the flossies, and it was 11 count. And something in my gut, I was going to, I had it in my basket, and I was going to go and buy it, and I thought, no, that's not right. It doesn't. There's something held me back, and I had joined a couple of Facebook groups by then, and they were talking about copyright, and they mentioned tapestry market was bad for stealing designs, and I was like, oh, kind of made me think, oh, maybe you don't do it, and they were sort of showing designs from Heaven and Earth Designs within the group, but what people are working on, and I really liked them, and I went on to their site, and I found this one that I was going to get. Had been considering from Tapestry Market, so I found this one, the Witching Hour Max Colour. I took the Max Colour version because I thought it looked nicer, and it blended better, and so I bought it from there, and I vowed from then on I would never use anything like Tapestry Market, Joy Sunday, or any of them. I have a couple of stamped kits from Temu, which I got before I knew any better, but they are primarily for those days when I want to stitch but I don't want to count, but I will not include them I won't include them on my channel, I won't show them on my Instagram or my Facebook. They are just for me purely to stitch on for those days when I don't feel like counting. And going forward, if I'm going to be getting stamped kits, I will be going to like the Whatabiz stamped crust. Is it Stamped Stitch Company or that one? And there's a Canadian company as well. Charlie's something. They do diamond painting and they do stamped kits, and they're all licensed. They all license their own artwork, and that's what I'll be doing going forward if I'm wanting to go for stamped kits. But I've got enough non-stamped. I've got enough counters. I've got enough patterns for Heaven and Earth Designs, Artecy, things like that. That I don't need to be looking at stamped kits, and I've discovered since I started going back into the diagonal blocks, it's easier for me to count. I'm not struggling. I'm not having to count past 10. So it's easier to count. Occasionally I'm still parking in the wrong place. Usually because I'm partnering amongst a pile of part stick threads, or I've went off a part thread and not grid line. Yeah, so that's that. The ones the Flosstubers that do spring to mind that jumped in, well, I'm sitting here thinking about what I've been watching, is Darren, the Dizzy Stitcher. As I say, I'm 2 weeks behind, at least 2 weeks behind. So the last one I saw him last night, and it was his update from about 2 weeks ago, and he just been officially made supervisor, but nobody else in the company knew about it yet, so it was kind of still on download. So congratulations, Darren, on your promotion. I hope that we can all shout it from the rooftops now and say congratulations to you, because you deserve it. Good luck with future in your new role. And the other one that jumps to mind is Liz, Stitch by Liz, on it. She's on Etsy, not Etsy, Instagram as well as Flosstube. And Tiny Dark Lord Raider made my day by walking across the screen, not once but twice. He makes my day every week. I love to see him, see what he's getting up to, and yeah. I've yet to hear him make a meow though. Yet to hear him talk to you, Liz. But thank you for my weekly fix of Raider. Because he just, it just, there's quite a few Flosstubers that have got cats, and every time I see the cats on the screen I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not alone with a demented cat in the house. So yeah, and Elizabeth said that she was going for more tests. I hope you've had the results back now and that everything is okay. Like I say, I'm 2 weeks behind. Plan is to go in maybe tonight after I finish stitching and to take out all the Stitch With Me ones, so I've got at least, because I can watch any of them. I can watch them whenever. So I can watch like all the update videos and try and get up to date with the updates. Yeah. So that's the plan for tonight after I finish stitching. Anything else that I've been watching? Not really anything new other than binge watching still the Chicago PD and Chicago Med. I've got Chicago Fire still to sort of add in, but that's going to be once I finish one of the ones that I've already started, one of these other ones that I've already started. Not listening to any podcasts this week or audiobooks. I should really get back into my audiobooks. I've been reading or listening to The Hobbit, and I've been listening to Game of Thrones. Start the first book, but I'm going to have to go back and start it again because it's been away since a few weeks since I've listened to them. So this kind of all covers my life updates as well. But I'm going to ask though, am I getting older, or are the police constables getting younger? I was sitting here yesterday and police car pulled up out in front and two policemen, well I think it was two policemen, it was actually a policewoman and a policeman, got out and they looked, I thought, oh God, he's awfully young. They're awfully young. And then two walked past and it was an older one and a younger one. I thought, God. So I'm convinced that three police constables could not be much more than 20, 21, 22. They look like babies. So I must be getting old, or they're getting younger, one of the two. But anyway, that's that. I'm going to wrap up now before I start waffling on about nothing. What's new? Just remember, if you like my projects that I'm working on and you don't mind my waffly accent and voice, and you want to follow my projects with what's happening with them, click on the like and subscribe button, click on the notification bell, select all, drop a comment. I do try and answer my comments straight away, and I have got certain subscribers who do sort of like, whenever they've watched a video, sort of leave me a smiley face or a wave or whatever. Even if it's just a smiley face or a wave, it's engagement and it helps get my my videos out there to more people thanks to the algorithm. So as I say, if you like what you've seen, please do click on the like and subscribe button, notification bell, drop down and select all, so that you get advised whenever I upload new content. Other than that, guys, just remember, even if you only manage one stitch in your stitchy session, that you get my new teeth in. If you only manage one stitch in your stitchy session, it's still one stitch less that you still have to do at the end of the project. And if you are out and about today, please treat people as you wish to be treated yourself. A smile, kind gesture, doesn't cost anything, but it could mean the world to that person on the receiving end. You do not know what anyone else is going through in their life. They could be having an absolute nightmare, and that smile or kind gesture makes all the difference to that person. You know, I've had it happen to myself. I've been having an absolute day from hell, and someone said something or smiled or whatever, and it just lifted me. Just that wee bit, just lifts you a wee bit, and it's just enough just to get you back out of the doldrums. So yeah, treat others as you wish to be treated yourself, basically. So that's it for me today. Happy stitching, get those stitches in, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye guys.